Andrade El Idolo could be leaving WWE, is what many wrestling fans out there are saying. I'm Umar Q from Real Take Wrestling, and I'm here with the Kissthering boys. We're going to tell you exactly what's happening, why Andrade mentioned AEW recently, and was reminiscing about some fond memories over there, while also taking some shots at WWE Creative. All that much more coming up in this video. Anyway, let's get right to it. The tweets that everyone is talking about. Andrade mentioned AEW on Twitter, and he basically said, the real Latino man, AEW, CMLL, and AAA, while sharing photos of his time in those promotions, having matches with the likes of the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and others. He also had a Twitter exchange with a fan in Spanish that essentially translated to the fan asking, why do they always make Latinos fight Latinos? And Andrade answered, I'm wondering the same. So, lot to talk about here. Brian, I know you have some thoughts on this. Andrade seems to be unhappy. Could he want out of WWE?
Where do you go next, dude? You ain't work out in AEW. You ain't work out in WWE. I think it's time to look at yourself in the mirror, and you're the problem. I mean, there is no other way to look at it. I mean, dude, he's a hell of a wrestler. I'll give him that. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's a bad wrestler, but there's a point in time where you got to blame yourself. You just don't connect with the crowd as well as others do. And I think that's the main problem. He's probably going to end up overseas. I think he should probably go to New Japan, where they mostly care about wrestling and not as much character. And that'll be it. If not, his next choice is TNA. So, I mean, you can be the man there, but that is what it is. What it is with that. So, I don't mean to be harsh. Y'all see me on these videos. I'm always defending somebody, but in this case, when you're blaming other companies and whatever the case is, and I've already seen you be part of 2-3 companies, and it doesn't work out with you, then I feel like you're the problem. And in this case, I just feel that's what the case is. So honestly, I have no sympathy. You went to WWE, you took the bag. Better deal with the repercussions, my boy, because it's not working out.
I'm sorry, y'all, but I got to get up in there right now because y'all heard him just now say, I'm always on these videos defending somebody. Right now, he's on this video defending WWE because he doesn't like that Andrade's talking trash about him. But
not at all. Not at all.
You know what? I'm going to give it to you this time. You are absolutely correct because he was in WWE before saying F WWE because he didn't like how his run was going. He got to AEW. Everybody was like, oh, Andrade's here. And he was very mid in AEW as well. They gave him some opportunities when he first got there, but it just wasn't working out. Like you said, his English, unfortunately, is not the best, so he has trouble connecting with the people. I think they could have put him with the manager and kind of made it work because we see them do that with Don Callis and his guys. But you know what? Andrade, very talented man. He is great in the ring. He's a beautiful man as well. I mean, you just got to say that up front. But I mean, unfortunately, the wrestling thing, for whatever reason it is, it's just not working for some reason. Back in WWE, everybody's excited. He's getting cooked. So I don't know. I think you're right, man. It might be him.
I think too, it was part of the booking. I mean, he hasn't been booked very strongly. Like, I'm pretty sure he hasn't lost a match, but he's barely been on TV as well. Like, it kind of goes, he's on a match, then 2-3 weeks, he disappears, comes back in a match. I don't really know what's going on with that, and I'm sure, like I said, it's part of the booking that he's cooled down. But then again, like, as a wrestler, you go to 2-3 companies, you don't make it work there. Yeah, you may have some cool matches with some pretty amazing wrestlers, but at the end of the day, man, you got to connect. And I always put Jey Uso as an example. He is not the best wrestler by any means. He has the 5 moves of doom, but the guy seems to go out there, be charismatic, and connect. So that's just what it is, man. And with Andrade, it's unfortunate because, like Kenny said, amazing wrestler, but he just doesn't have that full package that's going to take him to the moon or wherever he wants to be at. So that's the unfortunate part of it.
But the last thing, I hate to play past the buck with Brian right here, but I do got to say, you mentioned that he's not being booked well, but it's not really, it's like, what do? You're great at wrestling. Sure, we can put you in matches every night, but if you can't go out there and cut a promo, I mean, how can we really sell you to these people? So, I mean,
yeah, and I agree, Kenny, but so we can pass it off. But and and I don't mean that he's been booked horribly. I more mean because he wins most of the matches that he's in. I don't think he's really gotten pinned. I think it's more of he's not constantly thrown in people's faces every week, which it makes him forgettable. When he shows up, it's like, oh, cool, Andrade is wrestling today, but he's forgettable. You don't like today, bro. Not one time did this guy pass through my head like, oh, is Andrade wrestling today? Like, I just don't care for him, and part of that is his fault.
Yeah.
Well, Carol, you've been waiting very patiently. Let's hear from you.
I've just been cosplaying Andrade. You know, he can't speak. So yeah, you guys are right, man. The connection is everything. The ability to tell stories. The easiest way you can do is you open your mouth and you talk. And since Andrade can't do that, it's not cancel Christmas, but you're in the WWE with a lot of people who do have the ability to do it. That's why you see Sami Zayn out there who can just run his mouth all the time as the Intercontinental Champion, featured much more prominently. His best friend, Kevin Owens. I mean, Randy Orton cuts promos. Yeah, Roman Reigns. It's promos, man. It's when you're in the WWE and just, I think in American wrestling in general, if you want to make it to that top level, you just gonna have to have the gift of gab, even in AEW where you look at MJF. I mean, I guess Adam Cole is on that, you know, AEW championship level too, and he's a pretty decent promo as well. Not too shabby at all. That's it, man. That's it. And what shocks me is that he has a girlfriend, Charlotte, we all know.
It's his wife.
If you can't get pushed as Ric Flair's son-in-law, my boy, then you down bad.
Down bad.
Like, how do you not, you know, start to at least speak better or more, you know, like, I don't know, maybe started learning English at a later age. I know that affects your like language learning abilities. If you start learning it from a younger age, like you're much more able to, you know, forget the accent. You're really good at, you know, speaking. But like, I ask the same question to Shinsuke and any other wrestler who's been in America for 10 years at this point, and like you can't cut a simple promo. I'm not expecting you to recite Shakespeare to me, but like say something to get us pumped up or angry or sad, anything. Like ever since in NXT, they've been cutting the same promo for Andrade. I feel like I've been watching the same exact promo package for him, and yeah, he desperately needs a manager right now, but I don't know if they're like gonna give it to him right now. It just seems very much lost in the shuffle where you have guys like Dragon Lee. WWE seems to be focusing on that guy. He can speak English too, and he's crazy. I think younger too. So I don't know. It's gonna be tough. I mean, you shouldn't complain. Like the last thing I'll say about this is that I am used to, you know, people complaining on the AEW side, being much more vocal about it. Andrade did it there. Miro said something about it. Ricky Starks is going off right now. Paige threw a little jab. I'm not used to this happening in the WWE, so that's very interesting. But like Brian said in the beginning, man, you lose the WWE, now where do you go? I mean, I guess it's back to Mexico. That's probably gonna be his number one home.
Man, a lot was just said right now.
Yes,
that I could not disagree with any more than I currently do right now. So here's the thing, right? I think first let's address the tweets, and then I'll get to the absolute nonsense that Carol just said. Love you, by the way. But
I agree with you.
The tweets are what they are, right? Like, I think we're wrestling fans. We love to talk about it. We love to make a big deal about it. We love to get ourselves riled up. I think at the end of the day, though, we need to remember, Twitter isn't necessarily a real place. I think this could very easily be Andrade thinking about his time wrestling some of the best in the world internationally. He wrestled in CMLL. He wrestled in AAA. He wrestled in AEW. I think when we as fans kind of just immediately take that as like, oh man, he's burying WWE, right? I think like it could be that, but I don't think that's like the only answer here. And also his criticism or the criticism that he agreed with online is a criticism that many people have had about WWE's booking style. Because
I got a question for you about the first one. Why didn't he have a picture of somebody from WWE shaking their hand too?
I mean, he didn't have a problem doing that when he was with AEW. So I mean, it's a bit of a two-way street. But real quick, the critique that he was agreeing with is a critique that many people have had. with WWE booking because they tend to take,
sure.
one, race or one or one group
Yeah.
in just kind of mess them all together. Like,
Yeah.
like it is something that Vince McMahon used to do. It's something Triple H, unfortunately, is continuing to do. We need to get a little bit outside the box here, in my view. I don't think that's outside the realm of sanity for him to bring up or agree with a fan. But also, I also think like, man, this could just be Andrade riling people up. He is known to rile people up. He's known to try to get under people's skin. This is what he does. It could very easily be a way for him to start putting himself in the conversation. And if that's what it is, it's smart. Although I also understand some of the things that you guys have been saying. I just don't think it's as big a deal as him like, he's sick of WWE. If we hear stories about that, we'll see. But that is what it is. As far as his presentation and his promos, I think those things can be not fixed, but made up for in other ways.